This week's conversation centers around the current state of the economy, inflation, and the impact of tariffs on the price of goods. The fellas talk about the historical phrase, "It's the economy, stupid," from Bill Clinton's 1992 campaign and how it remains relevant today. They share personal anecdotes about rising grocery prices, particularly noting a significant increase in costs since 2021. What's going on, Keith?
Hey, TC, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing good. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, Tom Corley. Hey, Keith Pickens. How you guys doing?
Great, Mike. Great.
Good to hear. Well, we talked about a lot of things off in our group chat, but I want to focus on the economy. I think that's going to be maybe a part one, part two, possibly even a part three. Do you guys remember the phrase, "It's the economy, stupid"?
100%.
Yes.
James
yep,
Carville,
absolutely.
the 1992 Bill Clinton's campaign.
I still love Carville.
Yeah.
Yes,
Even
he
though he
keeps
looks
it
as
real.
old as I don't know what.
He keeps it real, though. He like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
He definitely got some Southern charm in it. Was he
No
from
question.
Louisiana or something like that?
I'm
Yes,
not sure, but he
somewhere,
does
yeah.
have that Southern charm. You're right.
That's true.
Let me just read this real quote this here. Moody's Analytics found a typical U.S. household is spending $208 more per month now that it was in September of 2004 to buy the same goods and services because prices have snowballed. And when we measure against early 2021 prices, families must spend $1,043 more per month to buy the same stuff.
Say that again. How much?
Yeah, $1,043 more per month to buy the same stuff. This was the increase since 2021. That's crazy.
Wow.
I had no idea it took that much of a hit.
Yeah, not surprised, but
But the overall thing from the elections was they pretty much were saying it's the economy, their household. Generally, that's how I vote, how it affects my household. I don't know, Mike, what do you say?
Well, I was watching, not 60 Minutes, but channel CBS. What is that? Face the Nation.
Oh, yeah.
And I believe it was the Secretary of the Treasury
Yeah, he's on there often.
was on. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was him.
Yeah.
And they asked about the effect of tariffs on the prices of everyday goods in America. He said the effects of tariffs is between 0.2 and 0.5. But when we measure it, the prices are actually down. Now notice, he just said 0.2 and 0.5. 0.2 and 0.5 of what?
of what?
Of nothing. That means 20 to 50%. 0.2 is 20%.
All day.
0.5 is 50%. But it sure sounds like a lot lower hit when he says 0.2 and 0.5, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So tariffs have had a huge effect on the price of goods for the everyday family. And contrary to what just happened today, where, the fascist in chief says that he's going to lower the tariffs on coffee and tropical fruits like bananas and something else. I can't remember the third one. But you already raised the price. You're not a hero for lowering the price back to where it was before you raised it. You're going to lower it all the way back. That's not going to do it. No. Tom, your question again? Because I just went off on a tangent there. I know I did. Barbershop talk.
That's right.
I
That's
thought
right.
But I stayed within this subject, though. I stayed
Yeah.
within the subject this time.
Well, no, I was just looking out for what your thoughts were on those increases.
That's my thoughts. Tariffs played a huge role. And then, of course,
Inflation.
right? Normal
Yeah.
inflation and greed. People say, oh, well, this one went up. I can raise mine, too.
But bananas have never really been that expensive.
No, I'm not.
That's
That was-
relatively speaking,
yeah.
Tom.
Yeah.
If you buy bananas like I do, and you depending on whether or not it was on sale, which typically,
Right.
sale is just a phrase to get you to take a second look and to buy. If you go to the store where I shop, it was 25 cents, 30 cents. And the last time I went in there was 55 cents for a pound. Yeah,
Right,
I'm speaking per pound. So in the scheme of things, it's not. But to Mike's point, the way the tariffs have made an impact, And when you look at 2/10 and 5/10, and we know those are fractions, but we also know how to convert those over into reality, 20%, 50%. And so when you look at those small things, is where it starts. It's kind of funny because I make, we talked about this for a brief moment last week, I make sweet potato pies every Thanksgiving. And started off me just making them for home. And then my sons wanted them. And all the kids wanted them. And then my sister wanted one. And then a couple friends wanted one. And Mike's saying he wants one. Anything. My point is this. So every year, sweet potatoes around Thanksgiving are like anywhere from 39 cents to, let's say 39 cents to 40 cents a pound, right? But anytime thereafter, it escalates. It goes back up to like about 99 cents a pound. So right now they're on quote unquote sale for 99 cents a pound, but the actual listed price is $1.29 a pound. And so my point in saying that is this year, I'm already anticipating when I go in there, the low end could likely be 60 cents, which will mean that I'm paying 20 cents more, which, what percentage is that? About 33% increase. So those small things you start to notice, and then I have to buy the sugar, Mike, and everything else that goes with it. But that's that's on a small scale, me coming out of the supermarket, the grocery store. And that's where people feel it most, particularly people who don't have means per se.
Right.
And so when you look at it, if you're the shopper for your household, you recognize immediately that when you go in, where before you may have spent $150 and got a basket or nearly a full basket, and now you might have 8 or 9 items. And you think, what happened? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the proof is in the pudding. So there is that issue of inflation, like you guys mentioned. There's also the issue of the tariffs having a real impact. And I saw the fascism chief today for a moment, and he was espousing that the prices are down. I don't know what alternate reality he lives in, but he continues to feed people with the thought that he didn't know anything about prices. He didn't have to buy anything, but he continues to feed us with that whole notion that he's made an impact. And any pain that we're feeling is from the prior administration. And so it is the economy. But none of us are stupid because we have to come out of our pocket with cash or a card or some such sort of means to pay for these items, whether it be food or clothes or what have you. And the hit that we're taking is real. It's not imagined. And I do shop, and I'm not both Tiff and I, but I do shop. And so I do recognize that the price of everything is going up and has gone up more recently, and it's escalating. It's going up at a higher rate. To your point, Mike, he does want to decrease some of the tariffs, but that's him acknowledging that tariff is really a tax on us. He'll never say it, but the fact that he's backing off is an indicator that he knows that the American people are feeling the pinch. And now he wants to do something to get back in our good graces, per se, by saying, I'm going to lower them.
He's also throwing out a $2,000 rebate from tariffs. You do the math, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. And I don't know that he's really going to do that. And even if he does, that how about a $10,000 rebate, dude?
Yeah.
Try 10,000 if you want to buy votes, because that's what you're doing. If you're gonna buy votes, you better come out at least $10,000 a person.
I don't want to go off course, but he's doing this whole sleight of hand thing because contained in the bill that they signed was an opportunity for not only him but senators and politicians to sue the Department of Justice for having been investigated in the prior administration to the tune of millions of dollars. He himself is trying to get $230 million.
Yeah.
When you talk about $2,000, that's a pittance. I mean, that's
not
chump
even
change, right? Even $10,000 for that matter, because what we're paying out in terms of our tax dollars to them, in comparison to what their offering is. So it's all sleight of hand. He's always trying to play tricks on us. And so you got to pay attention.
Yeah, for sure. Talking about the math, Keith, what do you say about this crazy notion of a 50-year mortgage?
It's a crazy notion because if you really want to become a homeowner, and they say the average age of somebody purchasing a home now is about 40 years old.
Yeah,
and if you're going to invest in a home with a 50-year mortgage, the reality is 9 times out of 10, not being morbid, but you're never going to own that home, or your equity in the home will be so low that it'll almost be meaningless because you're going to pay an interest, and I can't speak the specific number, but my guess is that interest payment is going to almost rival the amount that you pay for the home. And so to have a 50-year mortgage, unless you finagle it in a way that you get in just for the savings of $200 or whatever they suggest it might be, and then have hopefully a low interest rate. And if you can escalate the payments as long as there's no penalty attached to it, because some institutions might attach a penalty, then maybe you can make it make sense. But on the back end, you're still going to have to come up with a lot of money to make that dream a reality. But again, there's always a possibility. I heard somebody say on the newscast that when they introduced the 30-year mortgage, that eyebrows raised. And as far as I'm concerned, 15-year mortgages, if you can do that, is a good way to go. But then you can build up the equity, you can get in, you can get out. But a 50-year mortgage, I'm like Mike.
No.
To me, I'm old school. To me, that's crazy. It might be an entryway for some people to get into the mortgage, but it's all about supply and demand. I also heard it said that even if they're able to pull that off, now you're creating a demand where there's no supply. And we all know in Economics 101, everything is predicated on supply and demand.
Right.
So if you got more buyers than sellers, then now you're bidding. So now the price again is going up on those homes that you're trying to purchase. And so I don't see that as a solution personally, but that's just me.
It's not, you don't hear anything about the CEOs of banks having that conversation.
They're not
That's
even
just
thinking.
that's
those
just
lines.
the
That's
administration.
right.
Yeah.
If it happens, but I seriously doubt
Yeah.
that that's going to happen. That's just a smoke screen.
Yeah. I mean, if it comes about, hopefully people are savvy enough to, one, avoid it, two, jump in and pay it off early and not let all the interest. Come in.
I don't see anybody even, like you said, even going for that. No. Maybe as an entry point to get a home, possibly, but you're going to refinance that down to a 30 or a 20 year.
There you go.
As soon as you can.
As soon as you can. Yeah.
Right. Literally, as soon as you can. Don't want to keep a 50-year mortgage.
No. And it's $200, and I forgot what price point they established to save $200 a month. But at the end of the day, is that even really an enticement?
No, $200 a month. No. If $200 a month is the difference between you getting a mortgage and not getting a mortgage, then no, the mortgage is not for you.
Yeah, can you really afford it anyway?
Right. You can, right. If it's $200, no.
Yeah, less than
a
$10
concert
a day.
ticket. Yeah, a concert ticket. No.
Well, speaking of inflation and the cost of things, yeah, that's crazy that a concert ticket costs that much.
It is.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It is. I know. That's why I don't go to too many concerts.
Yeah, I'm very selective on mine.
Very selective. If I'm going to spend that kind of money, be somebody at, this is probably the last time I'm going to see them. Good. Probably is going to be the last time I'm going to see them.
Yeah.
I just went to a concert. There was a collective of artists, gospel artists, legends per se. And it was close to $200. We were pretty much down in front. Like we were in row B, right behind the what do you call that? The opera. What do you call it? Orchestra. Thanks.
Orchestra pit.
Yeah, right behind the orchestra pit in row B. So we had great seats and it was a great show. And Tiff and I hadn't really been out for the last and a half or so. And so I thought, you know what? We both enjoy gospel. It was a good value. But gone are the days when you can get season tickets at the Aretha and see 9-10 shows and spend $200.
Right.
Get no seats, which those Wednesday seats, which were the special price day, even those seats are not nearly as cheap as they used to be. So inflation is hitting everywhere.
We talked about in episodes past about a strategy for the Democrats. Do you think, again, going back to 1992 for Bill Clinton, do you think that's going to be the way in, is to talk about how the Republicans are not lowering your cost of living?
I think so. They're saying that Trump won predicated on the economy and his promises that he would bring prices down day one.
Right.
And all the other promises that he made. And so essentially what I've heard time and time again is that because he made so many pledges towards decreasing prices, that people were, they were happy to vote for him and they didn't believe that the Democrats could do the same. But I think when they look now at what's going on with the tariffs and the increased prices, I think that people are going to have second thoughts where there might be MAGA loyalists voting Republican regardless. There are a lot of independents and moderates who, because of the economy, decided to go right. But a lot of those people might come back to the center or even venture left and vote for Democrats. And so I think there is an opportunity here for Democrats if they continue to show where he hasn't lived up to his promises.
Yeah.
I personally think I don't know that the Dems, they're right now, let me come back. Now, with what's happened today with this Epstein situation, that would be the Dems' best bet into getting back into power.
The economy.
Well, no, not necessarily the economy. Now, I'm going with the Epstein thing, but on the economy situation, yes, you're correct, Tom. They have to really show that he has not delivered on his promises, help the economy. They have to really show that the tariffs raised our price, the prices of the producers, but 20 to 50%. You can't, like you were saying, Tom, when you're talking about the pocketbook, it's real.
Right.
It's real. So no matter what he says, oh, prices are down. No, they're not. If they were down, my pockets would be fatter. So they're not down.
Right.
They're not down on anything. So for him to, like you said, try and say, well, I've lowered prices. No, you haven't lowered anything. It's up to not the MAGA loyalist, but everyone else, and not even the Democrats, everybody else.
Right.
To look at their pocketbook.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're spending, what was it? You said, Tom, $200 a month more?
Yeah, $208 per month.
$208 in
over
this
last
year?
Over
last year. Right. If you're $208 a month less financially stable, then, do the math. Do the math.
Right.
It's going to get worse as we continue to kick out all the migrant workers, which we so desperately need to keep these prices down. Without them, got to pay a whole lot more money to get that produce to you. More money. I think I sent you something, Tom. What was it? 4 peppers with $10.
Yeah.
My buddy, I went to high school with Ed. He said, "Make this make sense," and he was right there in the grocery store. 4 peppers, $9.99. He was scratching his head. He was looking. He's like, "Make these on that Facebook Live." He's like, "This makes sense." 4 peppers, $2.50 per pepper. Wow. That is unreal. Make it make sense.
Okay, so we talked about the fact that the possibility of the Democrats taking charge or trying to take charge of the economy as their strategy. But what is the possibility of their solution? How do they turn the ship, as we say in the Navy?
Interesting question.
I'd like to hear your thoughts. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, TC.
You can't flick a switch and get the economy to go backwards. You can't get prices of gas to go down without drilling. You can't change the price of eggs. You can't change the price of utilities. I mean, I don't know what they could do, but I just don't see what they could do in a year's time to make that much of a difference in order to win 2026.
I don't think they can do it in 1 year. No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
But you got to have a solution. We can't keep voting for these people and they don't have solutions.
Sometimes it's the lesser of two evils, Tom. But,
yeah, that's always the case, though. That's always
been
the
our
case.
politics for years or so.
Yeah.
I think that they saw in New York and in New Jersey, and what was that? New York, New Jersey, and what was the other governor? Anyway, the last couple of elections, that they came up with some very specific plans, plans that at least people could kind of see as realities. And to your point, if you campaign on specifics and you have true intent, because there's no magic pill or no magic potion or any button you can push that's just going to make everything right, but at least sell people solutions that are realistic. And unfortunately, in the case of the fascist in chief, he made blatant promises, like prices going down the day after he gets in office, or stopping a war, things that were just preposterous on his face, but they fell for. And he's done just the opposite. Make America great again. America has not been his priority at all.
I heard a phrase, make America affordable again.
There you go. The whole point, Tom, and that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if they can come up with some potential solutions, because like I said, presidents have been trying to fix and work the economy for years, right? And there's nothing perfect about what we experienced in the past, but this escalation of prices via tariffs is preposterous. And so if nothing else, if they can restabilize and get us back to where we were, that's a win. Saying that, and once prices go up, I'd be damned if they just magically come down. Once they go up, they're hard to come down. And you just have to have some talking points that people will be able to understand, that people will be able to embrace. And I think that they can, if nothing else, use his own words against him. And unfortunately, that's not a solution. But it certainly bodes well for anybody who's trying to come up with an alternative to the fascist in chief. Because right now, I think a lot of people would like to have an alternative, and because he's lied, and he continues to lie. And today, he said the prices are going down.
Yeah, going into
no believes that to be true.
Yeah, going into the election, 44% of Americans said the cost of living is their top issue. Not democracy, not the border, not even crime. Affordability dominates everything.
Well, maybe, you were saying what could the Democrats do? And you said make America affordable again.
Right.
Yeah, that's gonna be the rallying cry. Make America affordable again.
Yeah.
But he came out. This was last week, and he said the price of Italian pasta was too low. They're underpricing their product, which is just, how? Anyway, he said he wanted them to raise the price of the pasta, or he's gonna tariff it at 92% starting January 1st. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So how is, to what you guys were saying, how is forcing a country to raise the price of their product, how is that helping America?
It doesn't.
How is that helping our pockets to make us pay more for somebody? It's underpriced.
Yeah.
It's not underpriced.
There's a restaurant owner in New York who said specifically that he gets all of his pasta from Italy, and because of the quality of it, he's actually an Italian guy, and he does big business. And he said if that does happen, that two things are possibly going to occur. One, he's going to have to increase his price points, which is going to, in effect, reduce his business, or he's going to have to go out of business. And he's been in business in New York a long time. And so the fact that, again, he has his own alternate reality, and he'll just say things. He'll just make things up. And then he'll impose a tariff without any regard for how it's impacting Americans. And people are constantly telling him, tariffs are a form of tax. And he doesn't want to acknowledge that. And that's going to be his downfall, I think. I could be wrong, but I think it's going to be his downfall.
There's something else that came out today. Today is Monday, so this came out last week. The pricing, McDonald's is bringing back their value meals, and I think Wendy's or Burger King is doing some promotion too, whatever it is. They're saying it's not working. They're saying that even with this lower pricing, people still aren't going there because they don't have the money.
Right.
I went up here to the corner right up here at 12 and Orchard to that Arby's. And I'm going up there. I said, this looks kind of strange. There's construction here. The traffic pattern has changed a little bit. So I'm trying to get over to turn up in there. And finally I make it in there and I'm looking, I'm going, oh my gosh, it's closed. The sign was taken down.
Closed as in out of business?
As in out of business. And it wasn't for lack of business, I don't think. Because every time I've ever went there, every time I drive by there, you always see a line, people there. I think it was they couldn't keep consistent help at all.
probably.
Owner of that franchise probably owns other franchises, so he had to make a decision on what he's going to close and what he's going to try to keep open most profitable for him. And while that one probably was making money, might not have been the most profitable. Where another 2 or 3 that they own are more profitable and they could use the help. That's what you have to do. But for a McDonald's extra value meal to be priced out of people's reach, the average person's reach now, they're saying that even with that lower pricing, they weren't getting an increase in business. That's telling you what's happening in the economy.
The other thing, though, with the chain restaurants like McDonald's and Wendy's, not really getting the value. You're not getting the value.
Nah.
Marsha and I were looking at, we actually were talking about it the other day because we were talking about a Chinese run, and now we can both eat off of a $12 Chinese meal, whereas McDonald's, what do you call them, these
extra value
meal things, is $10, and two people can't eat off of it.
Right.
You can certainly go into a restaurant and sit down and have a much nicer, fresher meal at about the same price point as you can get a meal at McDonald's, the fast food restaurants. And I remember White Castle, you can go in there and get a 25-cent burger. I'm dating myself, but that same burger is probably $2.
Yeah, I mean how much our White Castle is today. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, it's just fast, and the whole marketing point about fast food is, and it's part of their fault. It's not only the price, it's the quality. And that's kind of getting off subject, but you want to charge a ridiculous price, then the quality of your food should be to par.
Match, right.
It should match. And so before you getting fast food, you're paying a little less for it. And so if it's not what you would get at a sit-down restaurant, then you're like, okay, this is good for my money. But now you can't even say it's good for my money, because I could go to, like I say, Applebee's or something and get a burger a meal deal for the same price that I can at a McDonald's, where you got some guy who retired and just getting out the house slapping burgers, or some kid that's getting his first job. And yeah, it's not really a value, to your point, Tyler.
Yeah, there's a commercial out there now that these kids are like at practice for some kind of sport event. Coach brings a burger and he's trying to cut it up. Then the commercial goes to a pizza for the same value. So it's the same cost for the pizza is the same cost for the burger.
Yes.
And you get more value out of that pizza.
Yeah, because the price of beef is so high. Right, even a fast food burger is ridiculously priced now.
Yeah, that's another one. Beef is another one that has gone up substantially. Yeah.
You guys heard of the K economy?
I heard that expression for the first time today. I couldn't break it down for you, but I did hear it for the first time today.
You can talk about the K economy in part 2.
Okay, and that's interesting, Tom, because when I heard it this morning, it was pertinent to McDonald's and what their price point is and how now they're at the top of the K economy. And so on that note, I'll delve into it a little bit more and see exactly what they mean by K economy, because at this point, I don't really know.
That's all the time we have this week. Be sure to hit the follow button to receive a notification when we upload a new episode. To learn more about today's topics, go to the show description. You can text us. Join us every week by becoming a follower on your favorite streaming service. If you enjoy our podcast, become a supporter. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with the What's Going On podcast.